Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our council meeting for the October the 6th. Boy, it's hard to believe it's October, especially when I look at the weather. Anyways, welcome everybody. We'll get started with our meeting. First thing up is the adoption of the agenda. I have a recommendation here that the agenda for the October 6th, 2025 regular meeting of council be accepted and passed. Moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Rankin. Any discussion? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Do we have any disclosure of pecuniary interest? I have none to declare today. Councillor McCabe?
I have none.
Councillor Rankin?
I have none.
Councillor Burke?
Yes, I have an indirect pecuniary interest for item 6A, application B61-25. Some of the appendices were prepared by my employer.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hearn?
No.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll move to O Canada now. So these. Okay, thanks everyone. Next up is questions on agenda items. I believe we have Marcus Gagliardi to join us for that.
He had registered, but he's not, he said he was going to do it virtually and he's not in the waiting room.
Okay, so I guess we'll have to move on. All right, so we'll move on to adoption of the minutes of the council and public meeting. I have a recommendation that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on September 22nd, 2025 be adopted as circulated. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Hearn and Councillor Burke, thank you. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Not seeing any, so all those in favor? It's carried, thank you. I don't believe we have any business arising from previous meetings, so identification of items requiring separate discussion. So the items we have identified at this point is items 2A, 4A, 4B, 5A, 6A, 6C, and when we get to bylaws, bylaws 62-2025. So with that, we'll deal with all the other items requiring.
Marcus is there now.
Oh, okay. So we'll just suspend that for a moment
Marcus, I'll move you into the meeting.
and invite Marcus to speak. Welcome, Marcus. And you're ready. You're free to go ahead.
Hey, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, councilors. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak today. I wanted to be there in person, but I caught a case of the daycare flu over the weekend. So I'm nursing myself back to half decent health. Just wanted to take a few minutes. I really appreciate staff putting together the report they prepared for the winter maintenance item and item number 5 on council's agenda. It's something that I've been discussing with Brooke's team as well as Tammy's team. In our particular case for Cache, the subdivision off of Donville and Preston Street is more than 95% occupied. That's happened over the last 18 to 24 months. So we have, for the most part, occupied the entire subdivision. Bearing in mind the subdivision clauses or the agreement, subdivision agreement speaks to a prior to assumption clause for winter maintenance. We now have basically all of our homeowners living in that subdivision, obviously paying property taxes, living in the town. And we just thought it'd be a good time to have a discussion about when they could move over to municipal winter maintenance, as opposed to Cache continuing to do that. Something for consideration that Cache has offered in a draft agreement is obviously an indemnification of the township. So there was no risk to the town in terms of any damage to curbs or asphalt. We'd be willing to commit to that in an agreement that if there is any damage to asphalt or curbs, that the Cache team would be responsible for repairing any damage prior to the assumption of the subdivision, which is a pretty typical process that we go through prior to assumption anyways. So we'd be happy to commit to that if that's something that council needed to feel comfortable with the agreement. We would have no issue with that. And that's really it. I just want to say thank you to staff for bringing the report to council and look forward to working with them on the agreement.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. Any questions from council for Marcus? Not seeing any, so I know as you're aware, we will be dealing with this item later in our agenda here. Actually, before won't take too long, I don't think, till we get to it, but we will be dealing with it later today. So thanks, Marcus.
Thank you for the time. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to our items for separate discussion. I identified those ones that need to be pulled out for further discussion, so we're on to adopting the others that have not been identified. And the recommendation I have for that is that all items listed under items for consideration on the October 6th, 2025 council agenda, with the exception of those items identified for separate discussion, be approved and the recommendations therein be adopted. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor McCabe and Councillor Rankin, thank you. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So we'll move on to 2A. This is a planning report with regard to a rezoning. We have a recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the planning report prepared by Jamie Barnes, planner, County of Wellington, dated September 29th, 2025, regarding Linda Shoup, Park Lot 1, Park Lot 3, 35 Durham Street East, Mount Forest, zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 09/25. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Moved by Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Hearn. Open the floor for discussion on this one. Councillor Rankin, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox. I just had a couple of questions just for my own interest. I was just wondering if they had an expectation date for the buildings to be completed.
Okay, I think we do have the builder here, maybe. If you could come to the mic, please, Brad. And make sure the mic is on. Bring it there.
Afternoon. No, good question. Well, we've kind of got closing dates set for February and March, tentatively.
And the trees that you're going to be planting on that lot will be done that spring?
Yep, there shouldn't be any reason for that.
And I'm just wondering, will they be sort of in the middle of the front yard, or will they be closer to the road to create a street line of trees?
I would like to see them out the front. There'd be 4 separate services running in. So as long as it works with driveways and services, I don't see a problem with it. There's no point in planting them at the back because there's quite a lot of trees down the side and the back of the property already. So
Right. But I was thinking of a street view line, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think there's some town-owned trees there as well.
Mhm.
That will more than likely be stuck in driveways. So for sure, we'll be planting as many as we can in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I know we're dealing with the four houses right now, but I just had a question about that property that's going to be severed at
Yep.
the back. It's going to remain as R1C. Does that mean you will not be coming back in the future to have it rezoned?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have byland in the future rezoned R2. So you're going to have higher density on byland, higher density on Durham, with that piece in the middle still remaining as R1?
I believe so. I think Matt would have to confirm the exact zoning on it. I believe that's what it is. It's basically meant for the Lucases for green space is what they don't have a backyard basically right now. So it worked out nice for them.
Okay,
And
thank
it's
you.
not wasted because it would kind of be wasted space back there right now. So
Thank you.
nobody wants to cut that much lawn.
I do.
Clearly somebody does. Any other questions or comments? Councilor McKee?
I did, Council Rankin asked and Brad answered them for me, so I'm good.
Councilor Hearn?
Yes, and this is, I guess, for the builder. So, thank you for the report. I think it addresses really well a lot of the questions that we had, and I'd like to thank you for the floor, including the floor plan too, like taking a closer look at the floor plan. These townhomes are clearly, from my perspective, clearly geared towards retirees. Um, What kind of price point are you kind of projecting to be at when these are ready for occupancy?
Hello again. They are set at $499.9. The end units are, I believe, $529.9. Miss Shoup has spoken for one. Actually, and a couple of my employees have spoken for a couple too. So we did that deal where I pay their down payment for them. So they had a hard time saying no. So we do have one left if anybody's looking. Pending today, of course. Yeah,
And they're freehold, so
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Councilor Burke?
Yeah, so again, thank you for the report. Thank you to the planner and the developer for taking back some of the concerns that were addressed. Really happy to see that the dwellings have been pushed back to be more in line with what is already built on the street. Still have concerns about that back portion. Understanding what's in the report. So it's going to be merged with 119. There's no consideration of this being developed once it's severed. And I'm wondering if there can be some kind of hold put on it. And I guess I'm directing my question more to Curtis than I see Brad standing there at the mic, but I'm going to ask Curtis this question. Is there any way to put some type of restriction on the property if we grant this application?
Go ahead, Curtis, if you.
Sure. Yeah. Through Mayor Lennox to Councillor Burke.
Turn your camera on. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I'm a rookie here, apparently. Yes. Thank you. Through Mayor Lennox to Councillor Burke. So a holding provision could be placed on those lands that would restrict any further development. And then council would have to lift the holding provision based on the criteria that they established. The one thing, if council did want to put a holding provision, I may suggest that we allow for accessory buildings without lifting the holding provision in case they wanted to put a garage or a pool shed or something like that. So it is, I would say it is a possibility. It could be placed on the back.
Any other questions, comments? Darren, did you?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Lennox, to place a hold on the property, we could do that. But this property is going to be merging with a property on Byland Drive that already has a house. So no further residential development would be permitted on that site anyways. So the holding provision really wouldn't achieve anything um, to prohibit development. To further develop, they're going to have to come back to council or through land division anyways, through either rezoning or severance applications.
There was one lady wanted to speak.
Yeah, so I see a person in the gallery wishes to speak. This isn't a public meeting. We had the public meeting previously. This is a meeting intended for council discussion. So I appreciate you're here today and interested in participating, but it's really more appropriate at a public meeting, which I believe you were here for as well. So, and I think we did see some correspondence from you as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Darren. So you're saying that it's not beneficial to put a hold on it, but you're saying that they can't build anymore, because I thought they were going to try and go for R2 zone on Byland.
Not as far as I understand the zoning there. The property already has a house on it. So one house is permitted in the R1C zone.
What about the possibility of coming back and asking to tear that down and build more?
Absolutely, they can do that, whether there's a holding provision on it or not. They can come back and ask for the holding provision to be removed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, rezoning is always an option for any property owner at any time to request a rezoning. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Burke.
Yeah, I'd also just like to say that I appreciate the fact that they have outlined that they're going to save some trees, but I would be amiss from the tree trust and the green team if I didn't bring up that if we can save more and plant some extras, that would be greatly appreciated through the development.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? I just wanted to make a few comments myself. In that I know that we heard during the public meeting about concerns about the level of intensification going from a single family detached home to 4 townhomes in this location. And I've heard from other people in more informal venues that they thought this was not an appropriate place for this type of development. I do think, though, that there are other considerations that we have to balance when we're members of council. And so I'd like to tell a little story about some people I encountered when we were at the volunteer celebration and newcomer welcome event. I met a woman who approached me and was concerned about an older woman who was concerned that the current place that they live in Mount Forest, they love living in Mount Forest, have for some time, but was concerned that if her husband should predecease her, that she would not have the financial means to continue to live in that location. So she was concerned that we would make sure that we have type of housing that people could access that would be more affordable. And I said to her, well, I understand your concern. We've seen rapid escalation of housing costs across our community and across the province and the country, which has made people in her position struggle that much more. But I said, we've been doing remarkably well in Mount Forest in particular in terms of building a greater variety of housing. And so she appreciated that, but of course that didn't necessarily allay her concerns, because when the time comes that this should happen, she's going to be probably looking for something in the more affordable range. And then while I was waiting in the lunch line, I was struck up a conversation with another lady who kind of surprised me. Which was a very animated conversation. She explained to me that she had just moved to Mount Forest, and the only thing that she'd known about Mount Forest before she came was that gas was cheap there and where the Tim Hortons was. And she expressed to me she moved from Collingwood to Mount Forest, not knowing Mount Forest, but was so delighted that there was a type of housing that she could access that was close to the services she needed, and it suited her needs perfectly well. And I think about both of these cases, both of them are people who probably need something on the smaller side, on the more affordable side, like a townhome, and want to continue to live and be in our community. In fact, one of them does live in a rented townhome. And so I think, making sure that we balance the concerns raised from the neighbors about change in their neighborhood against the needs of the community and the people that wanting to live, continue to live and prosper in our community. And as this builder in this case alluded to, place where his employees may be able to afford. I think this is a good compromise. We're talking about built design that's not intrusive, single story. Yes, there's more of them on the lot than there was there before, but I do think that this is a reasonable balance to strike in the neighborhood and in the community to serve the broader needs of the community and housing for people to transition into or transition through, whether it be on their way up through the ages or, at the end of their life in the community. So, I do hear the concerns of the neighbors, and I'm sensitive to those. But I think this is a good balance, and I'm going to be supportive of this type of development. So with that, I'll open the floor for any other questions or comments. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, that's carried. So we'll move on to item 4A. This is the community improvement plan for Epoch's Garage.
That's my mistake. We don't need to pull that. You don't need to pull that now, right, Penny? No, I'm sorry.
So we're not pulling 4A now,
No.
but we haven't passed it with the.
Okay, then let's pass it.
We're gonna have to pass it. Okay, so I'll read 4A. The recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report C&ED 2025-29 on the Epoch's Garage Limited Community Improvement Plan application, and the council approve the facade and signage improvement grant in the amount of $2,113.79 to the Epoch's Garage Limited for new windows and steel siding. Moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Hearn. Any questions or comments? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Burke.
Yeah, I also pulled this item, and I just wanted to say that it's really nice to see some activity for the community improvement program outside of both of the urban areas. And just to highlight the dollars that have been invested by both the township and the applicants to enhance our community. And also to highlight the fact that there's 3 months left within the calendar year, and there's still some budget dollars. So hopefully we'll continue to get applications.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Move on to 4B. This is in regard to the recreation rates and fees. We have a recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report C&ED 2025-35, being a report on 2026 recreation rates and fees, and that council authorizes the mayor and clerk to sign the bylaw to authorize the 2026 recreation rates and fees. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor McCabe and Councillor Rankin, thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor Rankin, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lennox. I just had one, and I was just wondering why the seasonal rate for the minor soccer was so much higher at $7,395, more than any other sports activity.
Hey, Mandy, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Lennox, through you. So the soccer club pays a fixed annual usage fee. It eliminates the need for them to schedule and pay for each game or each practice separately. And that fee is subject to a 2% or an approximate 2% increase annually. And this payment structure was previously discussed with the soccer club, and it aligns with their preferred method of payment. So they prefer paying that lump sum payment rather than going through and booking each individual use.
Any other questions, comments? I just had one that I received a informal communication with regard to this just before today's meeting with regard to the Lions Blacksmith Shop. We haven't had a fee there in the past, and I had heard that there may be some concerns from the board of that group. So I was hoping maybe we could just revisit some of that and make sure that everybody's on the same page before we proceed with that item. So would that be possible, Mandy, to revisit some of the conversation and make sure everybody's on the same page with that?
Absolutely. Through you to you, Mayor Lennox. That's no problem at all. We had included a $15 school visit fee just to kind of help support some of those operations of the facility. And if we were having school visits at the facility, if we had those experts on site, that it would help cover some of the costs associated with that. But there's no issue from my point of view.
Yeah, I think the concern was being raised that as the renovations on the shop are becoming complete, that they wanted to make sure that it was as affordable as possible to try to get people in the pattern of coming to the shop. So hopefully we can find the right balance with that.
Absolutely.
So just administration, so we won't pass the bylaw today, we'll amend it?
And bylaw, and just take that fee out and pass the rest.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from council? Okay, so I think what we're preparing to do is to just simply remove that fee from today's bylaw, and we'll revisit the issue and come back potentially with an amending bylaw at a future date. Okay. Any other questions, comments on this one? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 5A. This is the winter maintenance requests. Wow, that's quite a recommendation. I trust that you have the recommendation in front of you. No, I'll read it because I think it's important that we get all the details. Recommendation is that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report INF 2025-16 being a report on winter maintenance requests, and that council directs staff to enter into negotiations for a comprehensive service agreement with developers for winter maintenance services once development has reached 80% residential occupancy build out at the developer's cost. And further, the council directs staff to utilize winter maintenance service 2025 fee rates for road winter maintenance at $175 per hour and sidewalk winter maintenance at $140 per hour when negotiating a comprehensive service agreement. The winter maintenance fees include patrol, sand/salt, equipment, and operator. And further, the council directs staff to include a term in comprehensive service agreement with developers for winter maintenance services that additional snow removal from boulevards or cul-de-sacs would utilize a tractor with loader at $95.05 per hour and a tandem axle dump trucks at $113.95 plus operator time at $60 per hour that would be charged at the hourly rate at a time and material basis and to be invoiced on March 30th at the end of the winter season. And further, that council directs staff to work with the Mount Forest BIA to pilot the removal of snow for the Imagination Lane project, subject to an agreement between the landowners and the township that sets out the terms and conditions for the public use of the laneway and level of service related to snow removal. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Hearn and Councillor Rankin, thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor McCabe?
Thank you, Mayor Lennox, and through you, I've got a few, so I can ask one or two questions and then let someone else go ahead if they have the need for it. So yeah, there's a lot to digest in this report, and thank you for how in depth it is, Tammy. So with regards to the Arthur subdivisions, I know we've had issues in the past and we've talked about this last year and I guess probably this spring with these phases and then in Kenilworth as well with some of the residents about when the township will assume responsibilities for these roads. The phases in Arthur, I know had a lot of calls about safety concerns about snow piling up on the roadway, reduced visibility, and then causing some dangerous situations. And in Kenilworth, there's over 80% of the subdivision is full now, and has been for a while. So just wondering when these will become township responsibility completely, I guess.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Councillor McCabe. So currently the subdivision agreements are written in stages of works. So stages 1 to 2 are all the underground infrastructure and road base and base asphalt. Stage 3 is the utilities, and then stage 4 is the final surface work. So that'd be surface asphalt, sidewalks, curb and gutter, and topsoil and sod. So once stage 4 works have been installed, there's a 2-year maintenance period on the works. So Kenilworth subdivision, and Cache and East Ridge, they all installed their surface asphalt last year. So there's still one more winter before we would be able to meet that 2-year maintenance period requirement.
Okay, thank you.
You had another one, Councillor McCabe?
I've got 3 more, so if someone else wants to jump in.
Okay, we'll let somebody else take a turn first.
Sure.
Any other questions, comments? Councillor Burke?
Yes, so again, thank you for the report, Tammy. My question is geared more around the capacity issue. So we have 3 requests plus the BIA. And you've listed several other developments within your report. If we have other requests, how is that going to affect the capacity of snow removal for what the works that we already do now?
Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Councillor Burke. So with all development, it will impact the current service level and delivery, and it also impact staff requirement and equipment requirement as well. And the attachment 1, I outlined all of the development that we currently have that will eventually become township assumption. And those impacts will have a greater need for service level and additional staff requirements as well. Currently, for the Cache and the East Ridge and Arthur, it would be approximately 3.25 hours requirement. So it could potentially be another half day for a seasonal worker to be able to go out there to complete that. And then in Maple Ridge in Kenilworth, it's approximately 1 hour to complete the road plowing on that subdivision.
And if I may, just as a follow-up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the fees that we're proposing that the developer be charged for the works, is that enough for recovery to adapt to add additional staff?
Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Councillor Burke. So we evaluated the cost based on our current fees and charges and also OPSS, which is Ontario rated for equipment. Again, this is kind of a pilot to see how the winter goes and to see if our costs are being recovered, but I believe that those fees would allow staff recovery cost time.
Any other questions, comments? Before Councillor McCabe goes at it again?
Thanks, Mayor Lennox. Yeah, so no, I hear about property taxes all the time from people in Mount Forest and Arthur and Kenilworth and Damascus, not so much in Monk, but the one reoccurring theme is always, especially with new builds, is why they're paying full taxes with no township snow removal. And I understand the waiting period to assume roads, and just want some more clarification. And I realize too that when residents get their tax bill, they don't understand that we don't get 100% of that recovery tax bill. We get about 37%, 37 cents on the dollar, and the rest goes to the county and school boards, etc. But when I do see the challenges laid out in this report, and these issues, I know that we should be planning for this ahead of time as we grow as a township. And I'm not suggesting that we are not already planning, but I don't really see these as challenges. I see these as growth. And in our yearly budgets, I think this area does take up the most of our budget to manage and deliver. And from our residents, from what I hear, for the most part, they're happy with how the roads are maintained, not only in the winter, but throughout the year. So when I look at our next steps at attachment 1, just so I'm clear, are we looking at doing the town or the snow removal for Cache, East Ridge, and Maple Ridge, or are we assuming them, or let me back up. Are we doing the snow removal and then charging them, or are we assuming them and not charging them? I just want to be real clear on this. Or were we going to wait for the next, as you said, the 2-year waiting period, Tammy?
Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Councillor McCabe. So those 3 subdivisions have requested that the township complete winter maintenance activities. So that's Cache Development, Maple Ridge, and East Ridge Phase 3. And it would be on a cost recovery that the developer would have to pay for those fees. We would not be assuming the road at that time. And as Marcus had stated, any damage that was done during snow removal activities would be on the developer to repair.
Okay, thank you.
So just to clarify, Councillor McCabe, I mean, this is still in anticipation of full assumption by the municipality.
Yep.
And so it's we would be doing the work, but it would still be at the developer's cost.
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to clarify. So thank you, Tammy.
But
thank you.
Inevitably, these are going to come to the township to maintain.
Yep.
We're just waiting through till all the steps are completed to do that. So.
Okay, thank you.
Did you have
just one more?
Okay.
And finally, with the BIA Imagination Lane, as this connects to our municipal parking lot, I know we've talked about this, Brooke, as well. Are we thinking of creating an easement so that we don't run into trouble with other private lanes that everyone else wants plowed and maintained by the township, or?
Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Councillor McCabe. So discussions with the BIA and the property owners have been ongoing, and it is our intent to look at some sort of service or use agreement. We have looked at the options of easements, but I think as a first step, it's really most important to make sure that the property owners understand that this will allow for public access, and that's sort of the interest of the municipality in this partnership. As you mentioned, to connect to our municipal parking lot and provide better pedestrian connections in the core area. So this is a special pilot that we would be doing to support this project. And we still have further discussions. If council's amenable to the suggestion, we'll continue down that route, and we can bring something back for council to review once those discussions have happened. But yes, there would be some subsequent agreement that's required.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions, Councillor Rankin?
Thank you, through you, Mayor Lennox. Just to sort of add on to what Councillor McCabe was saying about the township doing the plowing for the subdivisions and the subdivisions being charged. As the winter was last year, there will be more plowings than what there might be in a normal winter. I'm just wondering if the subdivisions would be complaining at all about the extra cost for the extra plowings, or whether they just have to go ahead and pay whatever we do.
Go ahead, Brooke.
Through you, Mayor Lennox, to Councillor Rankin. So the terms of the agreement will be outlined based on the costs that we're anticipating and estimating, and then additional costs would be charged back to the developer. Every winter is variable. Sometimes, I think that's probably understood. Sometimes you get more snow, sometimes you get less. So we would make sure to detail those conditions in the agreement, and so that everyone's at least clear of what the expectations are.
Councillor McCabe?
Sorry, through you, Mayor Lennox, just as you said that, Brooke, so would this be on a on-call basis? Or would we just go, like, not we, the township would go in every snowfall and clear regardless?
Through you, Mayor Lennox, it would be based on the conditions of the agreement as per our municipal standards. So we would treat this subdivision as we would treat our own, the other roads that have been assumed by the township.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this? I think this kind of helps meet, so Councillor McCabe alluded to some of the wishes and desires of the new residents in terms of being able to see what the level of service the township can provide is. And it also helps our staff transition to not getting all of these coming on board all at once, perhaps. So maybe we can learn how we need to stage the expansion of our service as this comes forward. So I think this is a great solution to more than one problem. So thanks to staff for putting this together. I look forward to the agreements that get crafted with the developers to make this happen. With that, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 6A. This is the notice of application for consent. Okay, this isn't the one I was thinking of, but the recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the County of Wellington Planning and Land Division Committee notice of an application for consent dated September 12th, 2025, file number B61-25, Town of Minto, part lots 12 and 13, concession A. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor McCabe and Councillor Rankin, thank you. Any questions or comments on this one? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 6C. This is Town of Minto notice to consider an engineer's report for drain. Recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the Town of Minto notice of meeting to consider the engineer's report dated September 23rd, 2025 for municipal drain number 3. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Burke and Councillor Hearn, thank you. Oh, do I need to add the additional?
This will be a separate one.
Separate one, okay. Any questions or comments on that? Receiving that notice? All those in favor? That's carried. And we did have a volunteer for a member of council to sit on the Board of Revision. So coming out of that, we have a recommendation that the Council of the Township of Wellington North hereby appoint Councillor Steve McCabe to sit on the Court of Revision for Minto Drain number 3, and further that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the bylaw to appoint Councillor McCabe to the Court of Revision. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Rankin and Councillor Hearn, thank you. Questions, comments?
I'm happy to do this. I have worked with the planning and development in Minto under the SVCA for a number of years already, so I'm happy to help out when they need it for representation from us.
Thanks, Councillor McCabe, for volunteering. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So I think that brings us to the end of our items for consideration. We'll move on to notice of motion. Any notice of motion this afternoon? Not seeing any, so we'll move on to community group meeting program report. Does anybody have anything they'd like to report on today? Councillor Rankin.
Thank you. I would just like to report that the Artisan Showcase that was on the September 27th was very successful. There were a lot of vendors that shared their crafts with the public and showed them how it was done, and having it paired also with the last day of the market, it was beneficial for both. And I think both were very successful, and it was a good job. So thank you for all the vendors that participated.
Thank you. Anything anybody else would like to report on? Councillor McCabe.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Lennox, we have an upcoming Roma meeting on the 14th and 15th of October. And the registration for the Roma Conference 2026 is open as well for registration. So I would encourage anyone wanting to go to register now. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for that. Anything, Councillor Hearn, go ahead.
Just to add, not on the meetings and notices is the Arthur Chamber of Commerce that will be holding their monthly meeting tomorrow night.
Okay.
It's at
And the-
Bonnie's house.
And the annual meeting is the 15th, right?
That's right. The annual meeting remains the same. So we're just we're discussing the annual meeting tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. Anything anybody else would like to report on today? Okay. I think we'll move on to bylaws then. We have two bylaws and we'll just deal with them separately. We have a recommendation that bylaw number 62-2025 be read and passed. This is in regard to the zoning bylaw amendment
62.
That's the bylaw number.
Mhm.
Anyway, so this is the one that we had the report on earlier in the meeting today. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Rankin. Questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to the other one. Do I need to add as amended to this one?
Yes, as amended by removing the fee regarding the Lions Blacksmith Shop.
Okay.
That's it.
So the recommendation that bylaw number 63-2025 be read and passed. And can you say that again,
Yes,
please?
I can. Be read and passed as amended by removing the fee regarding the Lions Blacksmith Shop.
Okay, thank you. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Rankin and Councillor Burke, thank you. Questions, comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We're on to our cultural moment. Of a gentleman that I didn't know anything about before I read the cultural moment.
The Wellington North Cultural Roundtable presents A Cultural Moment, Charles A. Woodward. Charles Woodward was a titan of business during the late 1800s and early 1900s. He was born on July 19, 1852 in Gore, Ontario. Though the date is unknown, at some point his family relocated to Mount Forest. It was here that Woodward received his education and first got a taste of the entrepreneurial spirit. It is believed that Woodward left Mount Forest in 1875 to be a storekeeper on Manitoulin Island. After several years of mixed success, Woodward sought greater opportunities in the rapidly growing city of Vancouver. In 1892, he opened his first store in Vancouver at the corner of Main and Georgia Streets. Later that year, he moved the business to Hastings and Abbott Streets and incorporated as Woodward's Department Stores Limited. This flagship location would become a cornerstone of Vancouver's retail scene and a symbol of innovation in Canadian shopping culture. His business model emphasized quality, affordability, and customer service, principles that resonated with working-class families. By 1975, the chain had grown to 18 stores, making it the largest department store in Western Canada. Beyond retail, Woodward was deeply involved in public life. In 1924, he was elected as a Liberal member of the Legislative Assembly for Vancouver City, serving one term. Woodward was also a dedicated Freemason, affiliated with the Acacia Lodge No. 22 in Vancouver. He is interred in the only mausoleum in the Masonic Cemetery in Burnaby, a testament to his prominence and respect within the community. His legacy continued through his descendants. His son, William Cullum Woodward, served as Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia from 1941 to 1946. His grandson, Charles N. Chunky Woodward, led the company and later became the owner of the Douglas Lake Cattle Company, Canada's largest ranch. Though Woodward's department stores eventually succumbed to changing retail trends and were acquired by Hudson's Bay Company in 1993, the brand remains a cherished part of Canadian history. The original Vancouver store has been preserved as the Woodward's Building, a landmark that honors the entrepreneurial spirit of a man who began his journey in Mount Forest.
Interesting story. I don't know where the Cultural Roundtable digs all these up, but I'm glad they do. We'll move on to our confirming bylaw. So I have a recommendation that bylaw number 64-2025, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North at its regular meeting held on October 6, 2025, be read and passed. Could I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor McCabe, thank you. Councillor Burke. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And before we adjourn, of course, the Mount Forest BIA meeting is tomorrow at 8 to 9 a.m. The Arthur BIA meets tomorrow as well from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. And as Councillor Hearn pointed out, the Arthur Chambers meeting tomorrow as well. What was that time again, Councillor Hearn?
I think it's 5:30.
Okay, thank you. Well, those are next week.
Yeah.
Sorry. I got my dates mixed
I
up.
just wonder if I had the wrong, I had the wrong.
No,
Okay.
it's all me. So those are next Tuesday. Sorry, not tomorrow. But the one that Councillor Hearn referred to was tomorrow. So
Correct.
thank you for straightening me out on that. The Arthur Chamber of Commerce is having their annual meeting next Wednesday, October 15th at the Community Center. Mount Forest Excellence Awards be Saturday, October 18th. The next regular council meeting is Monday, October 20th. And somewhere in there's going to be Thanksgiving, I think. So with that, we'll move to adjournment. I have a recommendation that the regular council meeting of October 6th, 2025 be adjourned at 2:50 p.m. Moved by Councillor McCabe. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Rinkin. All those in favor? That's carried. We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.